The Earth diplomatic ship approached the massive space station where the Galactic Council held its meetings. Inside the ship, Captain Diane Carter fixed her uniform one last time. This was humanity's big moment, their first official meeting. With the 17 alien species that controlled this part of the galaxy, Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago, and this invitation was a huge step forward. 2 minutes until docking, Captain, said her pilot, Sam Green. Diane nodded. Remember, no matter what happens in there, stay calm and professional. The ship shuddered slightly as it connected to the space station. Diane took a deep breath and led her team of 5 diplomats through the airlock. They were met by a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. I am Zelter, Council Assistant. Please follow me to the chamber. The humans followed Zelter through wide corridors. Other aliens stopped to stare at them. Some whispered to each other. Diane kept her head high and her face neutral, though she noticed most of the looks weren't friendly. The council chamber was enormous. A circular room with 17 raised platforms arranged in a ring, each holding representatives from different alien species. In the center was a smaller platform where speakers would stand. Hundreds of observers watched from seats that rose, up around the walls. The representatives from Earth may now address the council, announced a deep voice that seemed to come from everywhere. Diane walked to the center platform, her footsteps echoing. She had practiced her speech for weeks. Honored members of the Galactic Council, I bring greetings from Earth and the United Governments of Humanity. We come seeking friendship, knowledge, and peaceful cooperation between our worlds. Before she could continue, there was a rumbling sound from one of the platforms. A massive alien with red-gray skin, sharp ridges along its head, and a powerful build leaned forward. This was Admiral Krasnar of the Varaxians, a species known for their military power. Tell us, human, Krasnar said, his voice dripping with contempt. How many warships has your species built that can travel between stars? Diane hesitated. This wasn't how the meeting was supposed to go. We have 12 ships with faster-than-light capabilities. 3 are military vessels for defense. Only, a wave of what sounded like laughter moved through the chamber. Krasnar's mouth stretched in what might have been a smile, showing rows of sharp teeth. 3 ships. The Varaxian Empire has over 800 warships. The Centauri have nearly 1,000. Even the peaceful Nebulon have at least 50. Earth is still developing its space program, Diane said firmly. We focus on exploration and diplomacy rather than military force. Another alien, thin with pale green skin, spoke up. What is the maximum speed of your fastest ship? 5 light years per day, Diane answered. More laughter filled the room. My personal shuttle travels 20 light years per day, said Krasnar. Your technology is primitive even for a young species. For the next hour, the questioning continued. Every answer Diane gave seemed to amuse the council. They asked about Earth's energy production, medical technology, population control methods, and defense systems. With each answer, the alien representatives exchanged glances, whispered comments, or openly laughed. Your species has barely left its cradle, Krasnar finally declared. You are children playing with technology you don't understand. The fact that you haven't destroyed yourselves yet is your greatest achievement. Diane kept her composure, though her face burned with humiliation. We came here seeking cooperation and exchange of knowledge, not mockery. Knowledge must be earned, said a floating jellyfish-like alien. Your species is not ready for the technologies we possess. The central alien, who appeared to be the head of the council, raised a long, slender arm for silence. We will now vote on Earth's status within the galactic community. The vote was quick and nearly unanimous. Earth was classified as a developing world with limited access to alien technology and restricted rights in interstellar matters. They would be allowed to trade with other worlds, but only under strict supervision. Earth ships would need permission to travel beyond their own solar system, and humans would not be permitted to establish colonies on any worlds beyond Mars without council approval. This is for your own protection, the council had explained. Many young species destroy themselves when given too much technology too quickly. Diane wanted to argue, but she knew it would be pointless. Earth accepts the Council's decision, she said stiffly. We hope to prove ourselves worthy of full membership in time. As she turned to leave, Krasnar called out, Be grateful for our protection, little humans. There are many dangers in space for primitive species like yours. The journey back to the ship was silent. Once on board, Diane's team finally expressed their anger and disappointment. They treated us like children, said one diplomat, pounding his fist on the table. Worse than children. Like pets, another added bitterly. Diane didn't join in their complaints. She was already composing her report to Earth Command. This wasn't at all what they had hoped for, but perhaps it wasn't surprising. Humans were newcomers to a very old community of spacefaring races. What the Galactic Council didn't know was that Earth had a secret, something that even Diane wasn't fully aware of. Thousands of miles away, in an underground base beneath the Arizona desert, Commander Jack Powell was reviewing the final test results of a ship unlike any other. The USS Phantom, a vessel that officially didn't exist. Powell's secure communication device beeped. It was a direct line from Earth Defense Command. Commander Powell, said the stern voice of Admiral Susan Miller, I've just received Captain Carter's report from the Galactic Council. It's as we feared. The aliens see us as weak and primitive. Powell smiled slightly. Then they're in for a surprise, Admiral. The Phantom project is ready? Yes, ma'am. Final tests completed yesterday. The ship can maintain full stealth indefinitely. All weapon systems operational. The crew is trained and ready. There was a pause before the Admiral spoke again. The President has authorized Operation Revelation. Your orders are to prepare the Phantom for immediate deployment. Monitor alien activity near our space. Do not engage unless attacked or ordered to reveal yourselves. Understood, Admiral. How did they mock us at the Council? Like we were children playing with toys. The Varaxians were the worst. Powell's expression hardened. They'll learn. They will indeed, Commander, but patience. Our time will come. Powell ended the communication and looked through the reinforced glass window at the sleek, dark shape of the Phantom. The ship that would change everything. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought Earth was defenseless. They had no idea what was coming. 3 years earlier, the underground facility beneath the Arizona desert was a hive of activity. Dr. Olivia West stood in front of a large screen, watching as numbers and equations flowed across it. She pushed a strand of brown hair from her face and frowned. Run the simulation again, she told her assistant. I think we're close. The team of 20 scientists and engineers worked in this secret lab, hidden from the world and especially from alien eyes. They were developing technology that could change humanity's place in the galaxy. Olivia had been working on the quantum displacement field for 7 years. The theory was simple to explain but nearly impossible to create. Make an object exist, slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, making it invisible to all known detection methods. The door to the lab slid open, and Navy engineer Frank Martinez walked in. He carried several rolled-up blueprints under his arm. Tell me you have good news, Olivia, he said, setting the blueprints down on a table. She smiled. I think we finally solved the energy problem. The new field should be stable for up to 6 months without needing to be reset, Frank whistled. 6 months? That's way better than the 3 days we had last year. How's the ship coming along? Olivia asked. Frank unrolled the blueprints. They showed a sleek vessel unlike any other human spaceship. Where most Earth ships were bulky and practical, this one was elegant and deadly looking. We've finished the outer hull. It's not big, about 1/3 the size of a regular destroyer, but she's fast. And once we install your stealth system, she'll be the perfect predator. Olivia frowned at his choice of words. I didn't create this technology to help us hunt other species, Frank. I know, he said quickly. But after those Varaxian ships destroyed our research station near Saturn last year, killing 15 scientists, the brass wants options. Not to start a war, but to make sure we can defend ourselves if needed. Olivia nodded reluctantly. The attack had been dismissed by the Varaxians as an unfortunate navigation error, but few humans believed that. Let me show you something cool. Frank said, changing the subject. He pulled up a 3D model of the ship on a nearby screen. We've installed the AI tactical system. We're calling it Whisper. Whisper? Because it can listen to enemy communications, analyze their patterns, and predict their next moves almost perfectly. It whispers their secrets to us. Frank rotated the model. Between your stealth field and Whisper, this ship will be able to run circles around anything the Varaxians have. Over the next 8 months, Olivia and Frank worked closely together. The Phantom project moved from theory to reality. They faced countless challenges. The stealth field would flicker unexpectedly. The power systems would overheat. Whisper would make calculation errors. But each problem was solved one by one. During this time, Olivia and Frank grew closer. They would often work late into the night, sharing meals and stories. Frank told her about growing up in New Mexico, watching the stars and dreaming of space. Olivia shared how she'd always been fascinated by what couldn't be seen, the hidden forces that shaped the universe. My father said I was trying to see the invisible, she told Frank one night as they sat in the empty cafeteria. He wasn't wrong. And now you're making things invisible, Frank replied with a smile. He'd be proud. Olivia looked down at her. Coffee. Sometimes I wonder if what we're doing is right, creating a weapon this powerful in secret. Frank was quiet for a moment. I see it as an insurance policy, something we hope to never use, but that keeps us safe just by existing. And if the military decides to use it for more than defense, that's why people like you and me are involved, Frank said, to make sure that doesn't happen. The day finally came to test the completed ship. A crew of 30 had been selected and trained in secret. Commander Jack Powell was chosen to lead the mission because of his exceptional record and his ability to keep secrets. Olivia and Frank stood in the control room as the underground ceiling opened up to reveal the night sky. The USS Phantom rose, silently on its anti-gravity lifts. It hovered for a moment, its dark surface barely visible against the stars, before the stealth field activated, and then it was gone. Completely invisible to the naked eye and to every sensor in the control room. It works, Frank whispered, squeezing Olivia's hand. The communication system crackled. Control. This is Commander Powell. Stealth systems functioning at 100%. Beginning test flight. For the next 6 hours, the Phantom performed a series of increasingly difficult maneuvers. It flew past military satellites without being detected. It approached commercial ships and even an alien trader vessel without being noticed. The stealth field held perfectly. When the ship returned and became visible again, the entire control room erupted in cheers. The impossible had been achieved. Admiral Susan Miller, who had been watching silently from the back of the room, approached Olivia and Frank. Excellent work, both of you, she said. The President has been informed. The Phantom will remain completely classified, known only to those in this facility and a few key leaders. What happens now? Olivia asked. Now we wait, the Admiral replied. We hope we never need to use this technology. But if we do, she left the sentence unfinished. But everyone understood. The Phantom would be humanity's ace in the hole, a card they would play only when absolutely necessary. After the successful test, life returned to a new normal for the Phantom team. The ship was moved to a secret orbital facility. Commander Powell and his crew continued training, improving their skills and learning everything about their unique vessel. Olivia and Frank were assigned to develop the next generation of the technology. They started working on making the stealth field even more efficient and exploring other applications. Neither of them knew that in just 3 years, the Phantom would be called into action, that the ship they helped create would change humanity's standing in the galaxy forever. As Frank had said, the Phantom was an insurance policy, and soon it would be time to make a claim. 6 months after Earth's humiliation at the Galactic Council, the situation grew worse. The Varaxians began to flex their military power, pushing humans back at every opportunity. They called it enforcing regulations for developing worlds. Humans called it bullying. On the small research station orbiting Tau Ceti, Dr. Alan Foster was recording data on stellar formations when the alarms blared. He rushed to the control room where the station's 10 other scientists had gathered. "What's happening?" he asked. The station director pointed at the screen. 3 Varaxian warships just appeared. They're demanding we evacuate immediately. They say we're violating territorial boundaries. That's impossible, Alan said. We filed all the proper paperwork with the council. This area was approved for Earth research. The director's face was grim. They say the boundaries changed last week. We have 30 minutes to leave before they open fire. The Earth scientists had no choice. They quickly gathered essential data and boarded their transport ship. As they pulled away, they watched in horror as the Varaxian ships fired on the empty station, destroying 6 years of work in seconds. This wasn't the first incident. Over the past 6 months, Varaxian ships had destroyed or seized 7 Earth facilities in space. Each time, they claimed humans had violated some rule or regulation. Each time, Earth protested through diplomatic channels. And each time, the Galactic Council sided with the Varaxians. Back on Earth, the Defense Council met in an underground room beneath the Pentagon. Representatives from all major Earth governments sat around a large table, their faces serious. Admiral Susan Miller stood at the front of the room. The Varaxians have now moved beyond harassment. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for something bigger. She displayed a holographic map showing Jupiter and its moons. 3 days ago, they positioned a fleet near Jupiter. Admiral Krasnar himself is leading them. They're demanding we abandon our mining operation on Europa. The president of the United Earth Alliance leaned forward. Europa? Why would they care about that? It's just ice mining for water. That's what we thought, Admiral Miller said. But our intelligence officer Lisa Chen discovered something interesting. She nodded to a young woman sitting at the side of the room. Lisa Chen stood up. She was small but carried herself with confidence. We analyzed the specific areas the Varaxians want us to leave. They all contain high concentrations of a rare element called xanthium. It's not valuable to us because we don't have the technology to use it, but the Varaxians do. They use it in their advanced weapon systems. So this isn't about regulations, one council member said. It's about resources. Exactly, Admiral Miller confirmed. And Europa has the largest deposit of xanthium in our solar system. What are our options? The president asked. We have 3 patrol ships near Jupiter, but they're no match for a Varaxian fleet. Admiral Miller's expression remained neutral, but there was a glint in her eye. We do have one other asset in the area, Mr. President. Everyone in the room knew what she meant. The Phantom. After a year of patrol missions conducted in complete stealth, the ship and its crew were well prepared for action. Is it time to reveal our ace? The president asked quietly. Admiral Miller nodded. Commander Powell reports that his ship is in position near Europa, completely undetected by the Varaxian fleet. He awaits your orders. The president was silent for a long moment. If we reveal the Phantom, we can never take it back. The aliens will know we've been developing technology in secret. If we don't, Admiral Miller said, we may lose Europa, and after that, they'll keep taking more. After a lengthy discussion, the council voted. The decision was made. The Phantom would remain hidden for now, but Commander Powell was authorized to gather intelligence and prepare for possible action. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Phantom, Commander Jack Powell and his crew monitored the Varaxian fleet. Thanks to their stealth technology, they could move right alongside the alien ships without being detected. They've added 2 more warships, reported Lieutenant Andrea Kim, the sensor operator. That makes 12 in total. Commander Powell nodded. Whisper, analyze their deployment pattern. The ship's AI tactical system responded in a calm, gender-neutral voice. Analysis complete. The Varaxian ships are positioned for a standard invasion formation. Their current arrangement suggests they plan to target the Europa colony first, then move to the other moons. Timeline? Powell asked. Based on historical Varaxian tactics and current communications traffic, they will likely attack within 72 hours. Intelligence officer Lisa Chen, who had been aboard the Phantom for 3 months, studied the data on her screen. Commander, I'm picking up something interesting in their communications. They keep referencing something called Operation Harvest. Powell moved to her station. Can you decode more? Lisa's fingers moved quickly over her console. They're being careful, but I've pieced together bits of information. They're not just after the Xenthium on Europa. They plan to use this as a first step to claim mining rights throughout our entire solar system. That would cripple our economy and make us completely dependent on them, Powell said, his face hardening. Sir? Called out Lieutenant Kim. Admiral, Krasnar's flagship is broadcasting a message to Earth. It's being sent on open channels. Let's hear it, Powell ordered. Admiral Krasnar's harsh voice filled the bridge. People of Earth, your mining operation on Europa violates Regulation 47B of the Developing Worlds Protection Act. You have 48 hours to evacuate all personnel and surrender the facility to Varaxian control. Any resistance will be met with appropriate force. This is your only warning. The message ended with what sounded like laughter. Send all this information to Earth Command immediately, Powell told Lisa. Encrypt it at the highest level. Yes, sir. As the Phantom continued its silent watch, the crew felt the weight of what was coming. They knew they were Earth's best hope against the Varaxian threat, but revealing themselves would change everything. The aliens thought humans were weak and technologically backward. That illusion had protected Earth in some ways. Once it was gone, everything would change. Powell looked at the main screen showing the Varaxian fleet, so confident in their superiority. Enjoy your laughter while you can, Admiral, he said quietly. You have no idea what's waiting in the shadows. The deadline set by the Varaxians was about to expire. Earth had sent 3 outdated patrol ships to protect the Europa colony, but everyone knew they were no match for the 12 Varaxian warships. The colonists had refused to evacuate. Europa was their home, and they would not abandon it without a fight. Admiral Krasnar's voice boomed across space, broadcasting on all frequencies. Your deadline has expired, humans. Your stubbornness will be your downfall. In the United Earth Alliance headquarters, the President and the Defense Council watched the situation unfold on large screens. The room was tense and quiet. Are we really going to let this happen? Asked one council member. The President looked at Admiral Miller. She gave a small nod. We've exhausted all diplomatic options, the President said. It's time for Operation Revelation. He pressed a button on the console in front of him. Commander Powell, you are authorized to proceed. Light years away, on the bridge of the USS Phantom, Commander Jack Powell received the message. His face was calm, but his eyes showed determination. All crew to battle stations, he ordered. Prepare to disengage stealth field on my mark. The crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this moment for years. Lieutenant Andrea Kim at Sensors, Engineer Ryan Davis at the Power Systems, Weapons Officer Peter Coleman at Tactical, and Intelligence Officer Lisa Chen monitoring communications. They were a small crew compared to other ships, but each was the best at what they did. The Phantom had been hiding in plain sight, positioned directly behind Admiral Krasnar's flagship. None of the alien ships had any idea they weren't alone. Whisper, analyze the Varaxian fleet, identify primary targets and optimal attack pattern, Powell ordered. The AI's calm voice replied, analysis complete. Recommend targeting propulsion systems on the flagship first, followed by weapons systems on supporting vessels. Predict 89% success rate with 0 casualties if executed precisely. Powell nodded. We disable, not destroy. I want to make a point, not start a war. He looked at his crew. This is what we've prepared for. Once we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. Earth's position in the galaxy changes forever. Let's make sure it changes for the better. The crew nodded, ready for what was to come. Send one message to Earth Command. Operation Revelation authorized, Powell said. Then he took a deep breath. Disengage stealth field. The USS Phantom suddenly appeared on every sensor in the Jupiter system. Its sleek, dark hull reflected little light, making it look like a shadow come to life. Inside the Varaxian flagship, alarms blared. Admiral Krasnar spun around as an officer shouted, "Unknown vessel detected, it's right behind us." Before Krasnar could respond, the Phantom fired. Not the wild, destructive blasts that most ships used, but precise beams that hit exactly what they targeted. The Varaxian flagship's main engines went dark. It could still operate but couldn't move quickly or escape. "What is happening?" Krasnar demanded, his voice no longer mocking but filled with confusion. The Phantom didn't wait. It seemed to shimmer and then reappeared beside another Varaxian warship. Again, it fired with perfect precision, disabling the weapon systems before the aliens could even react. "How is it moving so fast?" an alien officer cried out. The truth was, the Phantom wasn't just fast. It was phasing in and out of normal space using the quantum displacement field. To the Varaxians, it seemed to teleport from one position to another. "All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel," Krasnar ordered, but targeting the Phantom was impossible. Their sensors couldn't lock onto a ship that wasn't fully in this dimension. Their shots passed through empty space as the Phantom shifted slightly out of phase. Meanwhile, Whisper was predicting every Varaxian move before they made it. "They will target Grid Section 7, the AI would say, and Powell would order the ship to phase out just before shots arrived. In the Earth Alliance headquarters, the Defense Council watched in amazement as a single human ship systematically disabled the entire Varaxian fleet. "It's working even better than we hoped," Admiral Miller said, unable to hide her smile. On the Phantom's bridge, Lisa Chen monitored the Varaxian communications. "They're panicking, sir. I'm hearing reports of crew abandoning their battle stations. Some are calling it ghost warfare." Powell nodded. "Let's finish this. Target the remaining weapon systems." With deliberate precision, the Phantom continued its work. Ship after ship lost their ability to fight back. Not one alien was killed, not one ship destroyed. But after exactly 17 minutes, the entire Varaxian fleet was effectively neutralized. "All targets disabled, Commander," reported Weapons Officer Coleman. "Open a channel to Admiral Krasnar's flagship," Powell ordered. When the connection was established, Powell spoke clearly and calmly. "Admiral Krasnar, this is Commander Jack Powell of the Earth vessel Phantom. Your fleet has been disabled. You can still maintain life support and basic functions, but you cannot fight or flee. We could have destroyed your ships, but that is not our way." There was a long pause before Krasnar responded, his voice lacking its usual arrogance. "What do you want, human?" "The mining operation on Europa stays. All Varaxian ships will leave the Jupiter system immediately once emergency propulsion is restored to your vessels, and you will inform the Galactic Council that Earth is not to be underestimated again." Another pause. "You hid this technology from the Council. That is a violation." Powell cut him off. "We developed this technology after joining the galactic community. There are no regulations preventing a developing world from advancing on its own. Check your own laws, Admiral." Krasnar had no response to that. "We will restore your emergency propulsion systems in 1 hour," Powell continued. "That should give you time to consider your position. Phantom out." As the communication ended, the crew of the Phantom allowed themselves brief smiles. They had done it. Without firing a single fatal shot, they had defeated the most feared military force in this sector of the galaxy. "Re-engage stealth field," Powell ordered. "Let's disappear again, give them something to think about." The Phantom vanished from all sensors, though it remained in the same position. The Varaxians would never know if the ship had left or was still watching them. "Send complete battle data to Earth Command," Powell told Lisa, "and tell them the Phantom performed perfectly." As the data transmitted to Earth, Powell looked at the disabled Varaxian fleet on his screen. The aliens had mocked humans, threatened them, and tried to bully them into submission. They had thought humans were weak. That misconception had just been corrected. 2 weeks after the incident at Jupiter, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. The massive council chamber was packed, with representatives from all 17 major alien species and hundreds of observers. The atmosphere was tense, filled with whispers and nervous glances. Captain Diane Carter returned as Earth's representative. This time, she walked to the center platform with her head held high. The chamber fell silent as she took her place. The council head, a tall alien with silver skin, spoke first. We have called this session to address the recent incident involving Earth and Varaxian forces near the planet Jupiter. Earth stands accused of technological deception. Admiral Krasnar stood on his platform, his usual confident posture diminished. The humans concealed advanced technology from the Council. They were classified as a developing world because they presented themselves as such. They deceived us all. Captain Carter waited calmly until he finished. Earth did not deceive anyone, she said, her voice clear and strong. We showed you the technology we had at the time of our first contact. The fact that we developed new capabilities afterward is not deception, it's progress. Show the recording, ordered the Council head. A large holographic display appeared above the central platform. It showed the battle at Jupiter from multiple angles. The assembled aliens watched as the Phantom appeared from nowhere, disabled the Varaxian flagship, and then seemed to teleport between targets. Many gasped as they saw the ship phase in and out of normal spacetime, making it impossible to target. What we're seeing is impossible, said one of the alien representatives. Phase-shifting technology on this scale violates the laws of physics, as we understand them. As you understand them, Carter corrected politely. Humans have a long history of achieving what others considered impossible. The Council chamber erupted in overlapping voices. Some demanded sanctions against Earth. Others wanted access to the technology. A few even suggested that humans might be too dangerous to allow in the galactic community. The Council head raised all four of his arms for silence. One question remained central. Why did Earth hide this ship? Why reveal it now? We didn't hide the Phantom to deceive you, Carter explained. We kept it secret because we needed protection. From the moment we joined this Council, we were treated as lesser beings, mocked, dismissed. When the Varaxians began destroying our research stations and threatening our colonies, the Council did nothing. The Phantom was our insurance policy, a way to protect ourselves when no one else would. Many of the alien representatives shifted uncomfortably at her words. As for why we revealed it now, Carter continued, we had no choice. Admiral Krasnar's fleet was about to attack our colony on Europa. We used the minimum force necessary to protect our people. Not one Varaxian was harmed, not one ship destroyed. We showed restraint where others might have shown none. The debate continued for hours. Eventually, the Council recessed to consider their decision. While they deliberated, Captain Carter waited in a small room adjacent to the main chamber. Here, door slid open, and to her surprise, Admiral Krasnar entered. He stood awkwardly for a moment, his large frame seeming less intimidating than before. Your ship, he said finally. The Phantom. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Carter nodded but said nothing. How did your people develop such technology? In secret? Even our best scientists believed it was theoretically impossible. Perhaps that's why we succeeded, Carter suggested. We didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. Krasnar made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your Commander Powell could have destroyed my entire fleet. Why didn't he? That's not who we are, Carter said simply. Humans don't seek domination. We seek cooperation and peaceful coexistence, but we will defend ourselves when threatened. Krasnar was quiet for a moment. The Varaxian assessment of humans was premature, he admitted. We will not make that mistake again. When the Council reconvened, their decision surprised many. Earth was reclassified as an emerging power with full Council rights. The restrictions on human technology and expansion were lifted, and a formal investigation was launched into the Varaxian attacks on human facilities. As Captain Carter prepared to return to Earth with the good news, she received a message from Commander Powell. Congratulations on your diplomatic victory, he said, his image slightly distorted by the secure channel. The Phantom is continuing its patrol of Earth's borders. No signs of any aggressive moves from the Varaxians or any other species. They're being cautious now, Carter replied. They don't know if we have more ships like the Phantom. Powell smiled slightly. Do we? That's classified, Commander, Carter said with her own smile. But between us, Dr. West and Engineer Martinez have been very busy. Back on Earth, in the underground facility where it all began, Olivia West and Frank Martinez stood looking at the schematics for a new ship. It was larger than the Phantom with even more advanced systems. "I never thought our work would change humanity's place in the galaxy so quickly," Olivia said. Frank nodded. "I'm just glad we didn't have to hurt anyone to make our point. The Phantom was the perfect deterrent, powerful enough to defend us, precise enough to avoid casualties. And this one?" Olivia gestured at the new design. "This one isn't just for defense," Frank explained. "It's for exploration. With the quantum displacement field, we can travel farther and faster than any other ship in the galaxy. Imagine what we might discover." Olivia smiled at the thought. The Phantom had secured humanity's place among the stars. This new ship would help them explore them. In the weeks that followed, Earth's position in the galactic community transformed. Trade agreements were renegotiated on equal terms. Human scientists were invited to collaborate with alien researchers. And the mockery stopped completely. The story of the Phantom spread throughout the galaxy. Some called it the ghost ship. Others referred to it as the shadow that changed everything. But all agreed on one thing. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. Admiral Krasnar, once the loudest voice mocking humanity, became one of the strongest advocates for human Varaxian cooperation. When asked why by one of his officers, he simply said, "Only fools make the same mistake twice. Humans showed us they can be formidable enemies. I prefer to make them allies." The USS Phantom continued its silent patrol of Earth's borders, rarely seen but always present. A reminder that sometimes the most powerful force is the one you don't see until it's too late to stop it. And on Earth, humanity looked to the future with new confidence. They had earned their place among the stars not through aggression, but through ingenuity, determination, and strategic restraint. The aliens had mocked humans until our stealth ship revealed itself. They would never make that mistake again.